everyone now. Joining me on WION Newsroom, Aditya Juneja, who will give us all the insights from the world of business. Nikita Singh will get us all the updates from the tech world. And Vidar Kathuria, who will get us all the updates from the world of sports. We begin with going over to Aditya for all the updates from business world.
Thank you, Jyotsna. We have a lot lined up, but first let's take a look at what is happening in the oil markets after the US naval blockade on Iranian ports. Oil prices fell in Asian trade as signs of renewed US-Iran dialogue eased fears over supply disruptions from the Strait of Hormuz blockade. Brent dropped to $98.57 and crude fell 1.65% after a volatile session driven by earlier supply concerns. The US says the negotiations remain possible despite the ongoing blockade, while analysts warn millions of barrels remain effectively offline. Markets are now pricing in a potential diplomatic resolution even as global energy risks remain elevated. Volatile fuel prices triggered by the West Asia war are accelerating electric vehicle adoption across Southeast Asia and beyond. With crude oil prices volatile, cost-conscious consumers are switching to EVs to cut transport expenses. Vietnam's VinFast reported a 127% surge in sales, while China's BYD is seeing strong demand across Thailand and the Philippines. Analysts say high petrol costs and expanding charging networks are driving a structural shift towards electric mobility across the region. And lastly, China's export growth slowed sharply in March to 2.5%, missing expectations as global demand weakened amid geopolitical tensions and rising energy costs. Shipments to the United States plunged 26.5% due to higher tariffs, while imports surged 27.8%, driven largely by higher energy prices. Analysts say uncertainty from West Asia conflict is disrupting global trade flows. Despite volatility, China's trade surplus remains strong, though economists expect it to narrow as external demand softens. And that is it from business. Now, for all the tech updates, it's over to you, Nikita.
Well, thanks so much, Adya. First up, Meta is developing a photorealistic AI-powered 3D version of its chief executive, Mark Zuckerberg. Now, the virtual avatar is expected to engage with employees in his place, according to a report by the Financial Times. The project is part of Meta's multi-billion-pound shift towards generative AI. The company has been building real-time, interactive 3D AI characters for users. It has now prioritized a Zuckerberg AI version as part of this strategy. Now, the move highlights Meta's push to redefine its business around advanced AI technologies. Next up, Anthropic is in talks with the Trump administration over its AI model, Mythos. Now, the move comes despite the Pentagon halting business after a contract dispute. The row focuses on safety guardrails for military use of AI. Last month, the Pentagon labeled Anthropic a supply chain risk. Co-founder Jack Clark called it a narrow contracting dispute. He said national security cooperation remains a priority. Now, Mythos launched on 7th April its Anthropic, most advanced model for coding and autonomous tasks. And lastly, Uber is set to face a second federal jury trial in the United States over sexual assault allegations by a passenger. The case in North Carolina involves a woman who claims the driver assaulted her during a ride in 2019. The trial is seen as a key test case amid more than 3,300 similar lawsuits against the company. It follows an earlier verdict in Arizona where a jury awarded $8.5 million to a plaintiff. Now, Uber argues it is a technology platform and not directly liable for actions of drivers who it calls independent contractors. Well, that's it from the world of tech. Now, my colleague Vidar would be taking you through some sports updates across the globe. Over to you, Vidar.
Thank you so much, Nikita. First up, news from the IPL. Well, the league has delivered its latest fairy tale story. In fact, not one but two. There were dream debuts for two uncapped Indian players on Monday, Prafull Hinge and Sakib Hussain. Both took 4 wickets each for the Sunrisers Hyderabad against the Rajasthan Royals. Hinge etched his name into the IPL record books on debut, striking thrice in his very first over, the only instance of a bowler achieving this in the league's 18-year history. Now, this included the wicket of 15-year-old Vaibhav Sooryavanshi, who was dismissed for a golden duck. Hinge was named the player of the match as the Sunrisers handed Rajasthan their first defeat of the season. Moving on in football, Leeds United pulled off a huge upset by beating Manchester United at Old Trafford for the first time in the league since 1981. A big talking point from the match was Lisandro Martinez's red card for pulling the hair of Leeds United player Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Now, Lisandro was returning after 2 months out from injury but was sent off following VAR intervention. While hair pulling is not specifically mentioned in the laws of the game, it is categorized as violent conduct. However, United interim manager Michael Carrick was furious at the decision to send Lisandro Martinez off, calling it a disgrace. And finally, former world number one Daniil Medvedev has been fined 6,000 euros or $7,000 for unsportsmanlike conduct after he smashed his racket 7 times at the Monte Carlo Masters last week. It occurred during a 6-love loss to Matteo Berrettini. It was the first time the Russian had failed to win a single game in a competitive match. Medvedev, who is currently ranked 10th, received a code violation for unsportsmanlike conduct by the chair umpire. The fine is small in comparison to the $76,000 and $42,500 fine that was Medvedev received for outbursts at the Australian Open and US Open last year. Now that's it from the world of sport. It's back to you, Jyotsna.
Thank you so much, Vidar, for all these sports updates, and Nikita for all the tech updates, and Adya for all the business updates.